Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas may be one of the smallest ships in the fleet, but she's packed with character, amazing views, and some truly unique spaces you won't find anywhere else. Today, we're going deck by deck so you can see exactly what this classic Vision class ship has to offer. I'm Sean with Third Orbit Travelers, and I'm on board Rhapsody of the Seas right now. From the stunning Centrum to the pools, lounges, restaurants, and hidden gems throughout the ship, I'm going to show you everything so you know exactly what to expect before you sail, and so you don't feel lost the moment you step on board. This tour will begin on deck number 4, the lowest level of the Centrum, and will end on deck 11 at the Viking Crown Lounge. I'll include several surprises along the way and at the end of the video. Let's get this full ship tour started. Welcome to deck number 4, midships and the Centrum. We start the tour off at the main elevator bank that's on Rhapsody of the Seas. And as we work our way around to the backside, you will see the main stairwell that goes up and down between all the decks. Also, this is where the deck 5 entrance of the Edelweiss dining room is, which is the main dining room on Rhapsody of the Seas. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's included with your cruise fare. Up on the right-hand side is where you will find the Next Cruise. Next Cruise is where you can book upcoming cruises on both Royal Caribbean and Celebrity cruise ships. Typically, they offer a discount on the deposit. They might offer cabin credit. They usually have some incentive to try to get you to book your cruise while you're currently on the ship. As you can see in the Centrum, there's tons of seating. And this is the R bar, which is the main bar for the ground level of the Centrum. And the dance floor and stage, throughout the day, someone is always playing some type of music on that stage. And what's really nice about the Centrum on Rhapsody of the Seas is the entire top of it is glass. So most of the time, unless it's night, there's this amazing sunlight coming in because it's as if the entire place has a huge opening to the sky. Here's one last look at the Centrum as we head on back out. And up in front of us is where you will find RC Online. This is a leftover from the days that people didn't have internet on their cell phones when they were on the ship. They could come down here and sit in front of a computer and access their emails and so on, which you can still do, but you do still have to have the Zoom internet package to do that. Another nice feature of this ship is this stairwell in the Centrum that will take you up to deck number 5. Welcome to deck number 5 midships and the Centrum overlook, at least one of them. As you can see, those were the stairs we just came up. And again, we are starting off at the main elevator bank. That door there on the right-hand side will take you out to the promenade that goes around the ship, and we'll take a look at that at the end of this video. Up in front of us is guest services and the shore excursion desk. Guest services is where you can find 24/7 assistance with anything you have a problem with, or if you have questions or anything like that. And in front of us is the Casino Royale. this wall here is where the ship puts all of its plaques for all the different locations the ship has visited. As you can see, there's tons of slot machines. There's also table games in here like roulette, blackjack, poker. Basically, it's a mini version of a casino from Las Vegas. Moving forward, this is the secondary bank of elevators and stairs, and this is where you'll find the main entrance to the main theater, which is where the production shows are, guest performers, and so on. So let's take a look inside, because this is one of my favorite main theaters on Royal Caribbean. It might not be the biggest, it might not have the best lighting, it might not have the biggest stage, but what it does have is the most comfortable chairs of any main theater. These chairs are amazing. They have a great place to put your drinks, and they're very soft and squishy, and they don't move. They are just really comfortable chairs, and it does improve the viewing experience if your body is comfortable when you're watching the shows. All right, let's head on back through the casino to the Centrum. And here's a look up close of the shore excursion desk. This is where you go to cancel an excursion, book an excursion. If you have questions about the excursion, like what to bring, what not to bring, that's where you go to get all those questions answered. Welcome to deck number 6, midships, and once again, the Centrum. Now, before we work our way around the Centrum, we are going to go aft and make a right-hand turn here and take a look at the schooner bar and a few other things that you get to through the schooner bar. The schooner bar is a classic piano bar with a nautical atmosphere, and the schooner bars are located on all of Royal Caribbean's ships. They do trivia and all sorts of other events in the schooner bar throughout the day, especially while at sea. And up in front of us is the entrance to Giovanni's table. Let's take a look inside before we keep moving aft. Giovanni's table is the Italian specialty restaurant that's on Rhapsody of the Seas. As a specialty dining restaurant, it does cost extra to eat here. However, the food is fantastic, and you can't beat the views, especially if you get a table right by the windows. Okay, continuing to move aft. Now we're entering the Shall We Dance lounge area. This, like the schooner bar, is home to a lot of special events. There is a bar back here, as well as music and dancing. They also use this as a meeting place for a lot of the shore excursions. And if we travel all the way to the stern of the ship, this is where you will find the Crown Lounge. The Crown Lounge is for Diamond tier and higher Crown and Anchor members. So if you go on Royal Caribbean, every night you stay on the ship, you get a point, and once you get to a certain number of points, you start moving up through the Crown and Anchor. It is a nice place to escape. They have coffee machines and pastries and snacks throughout the day. All right, let's start heading back forward again. Now that we've warped back to where we started on deck 6 up by the Centrum, as we walk around the Centrum, you can see in front of us, this is the Latitudes coffee shop. So this is where you can find your Starbucks style drinks like lattes, cappuccinos, espressos, anything that you could find at Starbucks, you can pretty much find there. And now we're going to enter the Centrum shops. This is where you can find all the shops that are on board Rhapsody of the Seas. They sell watches, jewelry, apparel, everything that you can basically find on any other cruise ship. Oh, and duty-free liquor. It is one of the nicer looking shop areas on Royal Caribbean's cruise ships. And as we continue to move further back, we find this deck's entrance to the main theater. All right, let's work our way back through the shops and to the Centrum. Up in front of us is the photo gallery and the Crown and Anchor desk. The photo gallery is where you can go to look at all the pictures that the camera people have been taking of you while you're on the ship. And here is the Crown and Anchor desk. This is where you go to get any questions you have about the Crown and Anchor Society answered, or if you have issues without getting the right number of points or so on, you can go there and talk to them about it. And up in front of us on this side is where you find the entrance to Chop's Grill. Chop's Grill is the steakhouse that's on Rhapsody of the Seas. They have all sorts of different cuts of meats, appetizers, and just like with Giovanni's, there is amazing ocean views from this restaurant. And welcome to deck number 9, midships. This is the pool deck, and it's where you will find both the main pool and the solarium. So we're going to go to the left here, but to the right is one of the entrances to the solarium, but we'll come back to that in a second. And as you can see, there's several ping pong tables here, and they do provide the paddles and the balls. And up in front of us is the main pool. Now there is only one main outdoor pool on Rhapsody of the Seas, and it is quite small. However, there's tons of seating, and there's 4 hot tubs sitting right at this end of the pool. Up in front of us here is the pool bar. This is where you can go to get your drinks while you're hanging out at the pool. It's just a typical bar. They serve beer and tropical drinks and anything you can get at a normal bar. And up in front of us is the entrance to the Windjammer. There is a sliding door right there that I was just pointing at. However, they usually have that roped off and tell you to use the main door, which is where we're going right now. And here's a look inside the Windjammer, and just like the Centrum, there is tons and tons of natural light in here because of all the glass in the ceiling. And it's multi-leveled, and no matter where you sit, you can have a good view of the ocean. It's one of my favorite Windjammers. All right, now let's head back out into the pool deck and work our way back along the opposite side of the pool. As you can see up in front of us, all that glass is where the natural sunlight comes in to the Centrum. Working our way further back, we find the entrance to the Solarium. The Solarium is an adults-only retreat where you can go for some peace and quiet. Non-adults can walk through here, but they're not allowed to just sit down in the lounge chairs and enjoy the pool. This is an adult-only section. And there is a hot tub in here. There's one right there. And here's a look at the pool. And going further along is the other hot tub. And here's a look at the Solarium bar. The Solarium bar is just like the pool bar. It's designed to offer drinks to people that are in the solarium. You don't have to stay in the solarium to get drinks there, but that's what it's there for. And as you can see, there are 2 hot tubs at the end of the pool. Up here on the left is the Park Cafe. This is where you can come and get a quick snack. They offer fresh salads, sandwiches, basically snacky food that you can eat while you're either at the pool or the solarium. And right here is the entrance to the Vitality at Sea Spa. This is the spa that's on Rhapsody of the Seas. They offer facials, mani-pedis, massages, haircuts, hairstyling, basically anything you can think of that you would normally get at a spa. All right, let's start working our way back. And welcome to deck number 10, midships. This is the pool overlook deck. And there's some absolutely amazing views of the ocean from up here. And this is also where you will find the jogging and walking track. As you can see up in front of us on the left, that's the main Jumbotron. They play movies on that at night and funny videos throughout the day. It's really nice to come up on the pool deck and sit down and watch a movie under the stars at night. As you look off to the left here and you can see all that glass, that is the entrance for the light for the Windjammer Cafe. So if you actually look down in those windows, you can see the buffet down below. And now we're up at the bow of the ship. This is an amazing place to come for sailaways when you're either leaving a port or coming into a port. And you can look out over the bow of the ship and the port that you're coming in or out of. And as you can see, there's shuffleboard courts up here on both sides of the ship. Again, the equipment is provided. And here's a look down inside the entrance to the Windjammer. Right when you go in, that's where you can find coffee and everything. Again, there's natural light everywhere inside this ship, which truly makes it an amazing vessel. All right, let's stop and take a look at the pool bar again from above and the main pool. And there are the hot tubs. As we continue to move aft, that area of all the glass right there is the Viking Crown Lounge, and Azumi is up there as well. We'll go up there in a second. As we approach the stern of the ship, let's take a look down into the solarium. As you can see, tons of glass again. And this stairwell right here will take you up one more deck. And on sailways, most people don't even know this exists. You can get an amazing view coming up to the top of this. However, it's only off of one side of the ship. And here's an interesting story. That shaded glass off to the right, when I was on the ship, that's Azumi in there. This man and woman came up here, and the guy dropped down on his knees to propose to his girlfriend, and he didn't realize the entire restaurant was watching him propose to her. And after he did, several people from the restaurant went outside and handed him money and said congratulations. I think he thought it was a private area that he could propose. All right, working our way back down the stairs, we're going to go to the stern of the ship. This is also an amazing place to watch sail away or to just look behind the ship as we sail along. It's also where you will find the signature rock climbing wall that you find on every Royal Caribbean ship. What's really nice about these rock climbing walls on these older ships is when you get to the top, instead of coming down immediately, take a look out over the ocean. You can get some amazing views from up there. All right, let's head on forward again. And welcome to deck number 11, the entrance to Azumi and the Viking Crown Lounge. The Viking Crown Lounge is a great place to come on sea days just to relax, read a book, use your computer, and look out over the ocean. At night, they have a bar, they have a DJ, so there's music, and it's a little bit more rowdy than the quietness you'll find here during the day. But yes, this is an amazing place to come just to relax in some air conditioning and look out over the ocean. Or heat if you happen to be on an Alaska cruise or someplace where it's colder. And turning around and looking back the way we came, up there on top where the DJ booth is also where Azumi is. So let's go take a look at Azumi. Azumi is the Japanese themed restaurant that's on Rhapsody of the Seas, but this Azumi is very unique because it's on the top deck of the ship. And it's really nice because it's completely isolated from everything else for the most part. Azumi is a specialty dining restaurant, just like Chops and Giovanni, so it is an extra cost to eat there. However, you can eat there a la carte. So if you just want a sushi roll, you can go up there and get just that. And as you can see, throughout the entire Viking Crown Lounge, there's tons of seating, both in soft couches, benches, and in regular chairs with tables. And finally, we're going to end this tour with a walk around the outside of Deck 5 on the promenade. This is an amazing place to go to just walk, get some exercise, and some nice views of the ocean while you're doing it. Now, you can't go completely around the ship on this promenade. You do have to go in one side and out the other side when you are walking around this at one point, as you'll see in a second. But for the most part, you can walk around the entire ship without having to go inside. And as you can see, it does go all the way to the stern of the vessel so that you can look out over the ocean in the back here. And again, this is not the most common place to come during sailways, so you can have some privacy here when you're leaving ports or entering ports. When I first booked Rhapsody, I was a little concerned because I'm a fan of the bigger ships. But when I finally got on her and realized how much light and how many views of the ocean there was all over the ship, I was sold. I loved the layout of Rhapsody of the Seas, even more so than the Navigator class ships. I would have no problem going on a cruise on her in the future. If you liked this walking tour, why not watch this Let's Cruise video of when I actually went on the Rhapsody of the Seas to a southeastern Caribbean cruise out of Puerto Rico. I'll be right here when it's done. See you next time.